The most dangerous man you will ever meet. It's not who you think. He's not the strongest, not the most aggressive, maybe not the richest. He's the one you almost didn't notice, the quiet one in the corner, the one who hasn't said a word and somehow owns the entire room. That man was not born that way. He was made in the fire. And what came out the other side is something most people are completely unprepared for. Just stay with me for a second, because by the end of this, you're either going to recognize this man or you're going to understand if you are in the process of becoming one. I know what you're thinking. Dangerous. That sounds like something violent, something destructive, something to be afraid of. But it's not that. I am not talking about violence at all. I'm talking about something far more powerful than that. I'm talking about a man who has completely and utterly has been destroyed by life, right? And chose to rebuild himself alone. Nobody holding his hand, no support group, no savior, no one, just him and himself and his growth. That is it. And the darkness and the brutal decision to either stay broken or become something that could only be built by a man who survived it. Most men run from that kind of pain. They numb it or they drink it away. But this man, he walked straight through it. And that decision, that one terrifying decision, changed everything. Today, I'm going deep into the psychology, the pain, and the raw power of the man who healed himself alone. And I promise you that this is not a motivational video, okay? Maybe for some of you it might be, but I'm not here to tell you the comfortable truth, right? It's going to be uncomfortable, but it's the truth still. And some of you, it's going to hit you maybe in places that you haven't felt in a very, very long time, but it's okay. Just lean into that. Trust me. Every dangerous man starts the same way. He gets broken, not hurt, not disappointed, broken. The kind of broken where you stop recognizing yourself in the mirror, where you sit in complete silence and the silence is so heavy that it can actually physically hurt you. Let me tell you about a man that I know. Let's call him Jay, 46 years old. Had everything society told him would make him happy, right? The house, the career, the woman he loved, the kids he would die for. He built his entire identity around those things. And then in the span of a few years, maybe, she files for divorce and started dating somebody else before the papers were even finalized. Just pause for a second and just think about what that actually means and does to a man, right? It's not just a breakup. It's a complete demolition of everything he thought his life was. The attorneys, the court dates, the custody hearings, the bills that never stop accumulating, fighting to see his own children while somebody else is sleeping in his bed, in his house, living the life that he built. She's asking for full custody, which means this man who worked double shifts to provide for those kids, who coached their little league games, who read them bedtime stories every night, is now scheduled for weekend visits, if the court agrees. And while he's fighting that battle, he's lying awake at 3 a.m. thinking about another man raising his children, another man sitting at his kitchen table, another man becoming the presence his kids grow up remembering. Oh, that hurts. That thought, that specific thought, is one of the most psychologically devastating experiences that a man could ever have. And the science confirms it, guys. When a man goes through this level of sustained psychological trauma, what happens to his body? It starts to break down. Cortisol, the stress hormone, floods his system continuously. And what cortisol does to a man's body over time is nothing short of a biological destruction. His testosterone tanks dramatically. His motivation disappears. His confidence collapses. His sex drive, the biological signal of vitality in a man, goes silent. His sleep becomes fragmented because his brain literally cannot rest when it perceives continuous threat. And sleep deprivation compounds everything. His immune system weakens. His heart works harder than it needs to. His organs operate under constant stress. His memory and concentration deteriorates. And then he has to walk into work every single morning, acting like everything's just peachy. Jay was a salesman, commission-based, which means if he doesn't perform, he doesn't eat. But his mind is fractured. He's sitting across from clients, trying to close deals while internally replaying his last court hearing he just had. His numbers are dropping. His commissions are shrinking. His manager pulls him aside and says, you know what? We got to talk. You need to hit your targets. Nobody asked why they dropped. Nobody asked what's happening at home. Nobody cares because the machine doesn't stop for broken men. It doesn't. And his coworkers, they know what he's going through, but they keep their distance. That's what people do, right? Because they have lives of their own. Because most people don't know what to do with a man who is visibly drowning, so they pretend that they don't see it. His friends stopped calling. Not all at once, though. Gradually. The way people disappear when they realize you need something real from them, and they don't have to give it? What even is that, right? He spent Father's Day alone. Just let that land for a second. Father's Day alone. Eating maybe takeout in a rented room. Maybe, right? Maybe he had to move out of the house to cover the attorney fees while his children were somewhere else celebrating with someone else. He spent Christmas alone. His birthday alone. He tried to go out maybe 1 or 2 nights just to breathe, just to be somewhere that wasn't that room. And he sat in a restaurant, right? And guess what he saw? Families at tables around him. Kids laughing, fathers cutting food for their children, mothers leaning into their husbands, and he just had to leave. Couldn't handle it anymore because of the grief, right? The grief of what he no longer had was physically unbearable in that moment. He went from a house to a room, a single rented room, paid for with money from a part-time job that he took on weekends on top of his full-time work just to keep up with the attorney fees. This man was not lazy. He was not weak. He's just a man being crushed from every direction simultaneously with nobody caring and nobody coming. Now he developed anxiety so severe that simple tasks, they just feel impossible. Depression that made getting out of bed feel like climbing a mountain. Literally feels impossible. Nightmares that woke him up at 3 a.m. replaying his biggest fears. PTSD, clinical, diagnosed, real from the trauma of losing not just a marriage, but his children, his home, his identity, his sense of self, all at once. This is what real destruction looks like, guys, in real life. That kind that I'm talking about, that happens to men every single day while the world just keeps moving, right? And nobody stops to notice. This is where the story changes a little bit because at the absolute bottom at all of that, Jay made a decision that would change the entire trajectory of his life. He knew alcohol would make it worse. He had seen what it did to men and friends all around him, how it promised relief, right? And delivered only deeper destruction and a headache. He tried dating because loneliness at that level makes you desperate for any type of closeness and warmth. But he was too broken to trust anybody, so he said ixnay on that. Too wounded to open up. Every woman he met, he looked at through the lens of everything he had lost. He was a wounded wolf. And wounded wolves don't trust the hand that reaches toward them because the last hand that reached toward him destroyed him. So dating, it's left him emptier than ever. More convinced than ever that he will be fundamentally unlovable because of the situation that he's in. That something was wrong with him at his core, and that the belief is the most dangerous belief a broken man can carry because it becomes self-fulfilling. He sat with all of that, the loneliness, the grief, the biological collapse, the financial pressure, the professional failure, the social isolation, the painful agony of missing his children. He sat with all of it and asked himself one question. If this is the lowest I will ever be, what am I going to do with it? Am I going to let this destroy me or am I going to use it? Then he realized that nobody's coming. That's okay though. That is okay. Trust me. Why? Because he was still here. And as long as he was still here, there was still some hope. And what he built from the pieces left of that life is what I want to talk about now, because this is the part that most people never see because it happens in total privacy, in the dark, in silence, where literally nobody is watching. He started with his body because his body was the only thing that he had complete control over still. Every morning, before the thoughts could swallow him, because trust me, they do, before the sadness could pin him down to his bed, he gets up and he looks at himself in the mirror and says, I am a beast. Nothing can break me. Then he got in his car, went to the gym. But it's not because he felt like it, because he doesn't. But he made a decision that feeling like it was no longer a requirement to sit and sulk and dwell, right? He made a choice. He understood something fundamental. A man who cannot command his own body cannot command anything. So he commanded it every day, whether he slept or not, whether he cried in the car on the way there or not, whether every cell in him was screaming to stop or not. He went anyway, and the body responded slowly. It's not going to be dramatic. It will be consistent though. And consistency is the language that the body actually understands. He started reading, not self-help books full of corny affirmations though, okay? Psychology, philosophy, biology, history. He wanted to understand why this happened to him. Not to assign blame, but to literally just understand the mechanics behind everything. The attachment patterns, the trauma responses, the neurological loops that were keeping him in pain, right? Because you can't escape a trap that you don't fully understand. He faced his childhood wounds, the ones that he had been carrying his whole entire life and driving his choices long before she ever entered his life. The patterns he brought into the marriage that contributed to all of this, gone. He's not torturing himself though with guilt, guys. That's not what I'm talking about. He is trying to understand himself, because a man who understands himself cannot be surprised by himself. And guess what else? He rebuilt his finances very slowly. The part-time job became a side business. The side business grew, not because he got lucky though, but because a man with nothing to lose and everything to prove to himself works with that kind of intensity. That only comes from having nothing left to lose and everything left to prove to himself. Keyword there, guys, to himself. Through every early morning, every sleepless night, every court date, every missed birthday with his children, he kept one promise to himself. He would not let what happened to him define what he became. He would use every scar, every loss, every broken piece of himself to rebuild something that the comfortable version of him never could have created. Never. And here's what emerged out of all of that. On the other side of all of that, here's the man that the fire produced. Here's why he is the most dangerous man in the world. He cannot ever be controlled through fear now, because he already has survived his worst fear. He cannot be manipulated through threat of loss anymore. Why? Because he's already lost everything and rebuilt from nothing. He cannot be diminished by people who have not paid the price that he paid, because he knows exactly what it cost him, right? And exactly what it produced. He moves differently now. He's not arrogant. He's certain. There is a quality to his presence now that people feel before he says a word, a stillness, a groundedness, the specific energy of a man who has nothing to prove because he has already proven it to the only person who matters, himself. He doesn't go after people, not because he turned cold, guys, but because he understands that what is meant for him will come to him. He doesn't fear the silence. He spent his darkest nights in complete silence and made peace with that. It's okay. He made peace with what he found there. He learned that silence is not emptiness. It's where a man can finally meet himself. And you need to go there sometimes. And the man he met was worth knowing. He doesn't react. He responds. When pressure comes, and pressure always comes, he becomes still And from that stillness, he chooses with precision. It's not that he just doesn't want to feel the pressure. It's because he has felt worse before and survived it alone. Women feel this energy, guys. They can't explain it, but they feel it. They feel safe in a way that they have never felt safe before. Not because he's this big, gentle giant now. No, he is certain. And certainty in a world full of uncertain men is the most magnetic force on earth. His children will one day understand what their father went through to remain standing. And what they will see, it's not a victim. And it's definitely not a broken man, but a man who was tested beyond belief at the absolute limit of what a human being can endure and chose every single day to keep going. That is the lesson that they will carry for the rest of their lives. I promise you that. I need you to hear this next part. Not from a coach, not from a content creator, from a woman who has watched strong men suffer in silence and decided that someone finally needs to say something about it. There are men watching this right now who are somewhere in Jay's story. Somewhere. Maybe at the beginning of it, maybe in the middle, maybe on the other side of it, still carrying the weight of what it cost them. And I need you to hear something that nobody's saying to you. What you went through was not a reflection of your worth. It was a test of your will. And the fact that you're still here, still breathing, still trying, even on the days when trying feels impossible, it's not nothing. It's everything. The world does not celebrate this. The world does not see the man who gets up alone, the man who goes to his court date alone, the man who spends Father's Day in a rented room and still shows up to work on Monday. The world doesn't see that, but I do. And I need you to know that what you're doing in the dark, in that silence, in the moments where nobody is witnessing you, is one of the most extraordinary things a human being can do. You are not failing. You are forging. And what comes out on the other side is not who you were before. It is someone that the before version of you could never have become. The most dangerous man in the world was once the most broken man in the world. Listen to that again. The most dangerous man in the world was once the most broken man in the world. He's dangerous because he cannot be controlled through fear. He has already survived his worst fear. He cannot be manipulated through approval. He stopped needing it the night everything fell apart. He can't be diminished by people who have never paid the price that he paid. He is dangerous because he knows exactly who he is. Built from the inside out, by his own hand, in the dark, alone. And nothing and no one can ever, ever, ever take that from him again. If that's you, if you're Jay, if you're somewhere in that story right now, I need you to hear this directly. Keep going. Keep fighting. It's not going to be easy. Nothing in life worth having comes easy sometimes. It doesn't always get easier, but keep going because of what waits for you on the other side. A version of yourself that you cannot even imagine yet. A clarity that cannot be bought or borrowed or given to you. A strength that was built in the exact darkness that you're standing in right now. Your children will know this man, the one who didn't quit, the one who went through the fire and came back not bitter, not broken, but forged. That is the man that they will be proud of. That is the man that they will tell stories about. That is the father who showed them without a single word what it means to be human and what it means to be a human being worth respecting. Keep going. The world does not need more comfortable men. It needs more dangerous ones. The ones who healed alone. The ones who cannot be broken twice. The ones who know without an absolute certainty exactly who they are. If that's you, I am damn proud of you. What you're carrying is not light, and you are carrying it anyway. Stay dangerous. I'll see you in the next one.